Show. Always Irish Show. Always Irish Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Welcome back, folks. It's a Friday free-for-all. It's a Friday free-for-all. We got some news. We got some notes. But we could take it wherever you guys want to take it. I got good news for you, though. Good news. I'm starting to see a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel. Just a little bit. I've always been saying 4th of July is my marking point. If you could get through the 4th of July without losing your Notre Dame football mind, then you're on your way to football victory. Right? I've been saying you get to 4th of July. I could see that 3 more weeks or whatever. And then we're ready to go. I know it's June, but it's getting to be the end of June. We got 4th of July coming up. Give me a break. I'm struggling with my sanity here. And I think you got some recruiting news coming. And I think, listen, I don't want to be wrong on this. But I feel like I think this could be a thing where there's multiple recruits coming and they kind of stack it with the announcements kind of in the same time frame. That's kind of what I'm hoping happens, hearing good things about a lot of these guys. That's what I'm hoping. It would certainly buoy you further until we get into camp, right? Oh, man. I hear Alabama fans are super happy with their new coach, ND Whiff, not getting that guy. Was he even talked about? Was he even considered to be that great? Commander, you're a tough one to figure out. Sometimes it's just like totally fine. And what you're saying, I like agree with, and it's just like fine. And then other days I'm convinced you just want to come in here with the bulldozer and ruin everything. I can't figure you out. I just can't. And then when he calls, the calls are not bad. I'm expecting the worst. And if he's half sober, the calls are like decent and we have a good conversation. Oh, man. So anyways, we got a lot to go. We have a lot to go over here. And I'm going to go over a couple different topics that are in the news for Notre Dame and what I think is going to come of them, because I think there's some obvious angles here, and we need to cover that. So thanks for being here, everybody. It's am I allowed to say it's the dog days of summer? We're almost at the end of July. Can that count as the dog days of summer? When does it have to be? Is it have to be August to be the dog days of summer? Adam Dowling's been giving me a hard time about the dog days of summer. Here's what I'm telling you, people. It's not, when I say the dog days is summer, that's based on a football calendar, not the weather. Not the weather. Commander, that's just, you gotta understand. Bro, here's what I'm telling you, Commander. My Notre Dame brother. I know you love Notre Dame. I know you're not in here just trolling. Like, I know you're not a fan of another team in here just trolling. Here's what I'm telling you. When you say every single thing our coach does sucks, and that's what you put out, it cancels out when you say things that, like, you want people to take serious. And that, like, when you actually have a football thought that isn't just, like, provocative just to be provocative, it takes away from your good points when you're so slanted on literally everything the guy does is not good enough. It's it takes away when you do say some stuff that actually makes sense. That's the problem. He's not trolling. Commander really doesn't like I really didn't like Kelly, but I can't say every single thing he did sucks either. Right? Like, that's how I feel about Kelly, but I can't say every single thing he did sucks. He inherited the program when it was in a dumpster and did a really good job building it back up that first time before he decided to burn it, to let it burn down and have to build it up again. But that's later down the road. But like you when you say that, it takes away from the good football stuff you say sometimes. Commander's a University of Phoenix fan. Everybody logs in online and watches the team. Yeah. Go team. Oh, man. Christopher says, it's important for us to secure and focus on receivers. It certainly is. And you need what? You need a couple at least, right? You need a couple. And I know, different people are going to have names. They think it's happy or whatever. You need a couple. And again, it's a very good point. If you want to keep attracting these quarterbacks and have this all cooking, they want to throw to good. They want to throw to good players. Like, they want to throw to good players. Meadows is going to Alabama. Listen, I knew he was. I knew he was looking forward to getting down south and taking those a couple SEC recruiting visits. I understand that family and the parents, they buy into the academics and they're, like smart people that see the big picture or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what that's ultimately going to do for the recruitment or whatever, but I do know the family's like on board with Notre Dame, understands the educational piece, like whatever. But if you're a guy like that, can you really say, like, you blame the guy for wanting to go be wined and dined in the SEC and see what they have to offer? I can't blame a guy like that with that size and that body type, and everybody wants him. Like, I can't blame the guy for shopping around and doing all that and whatever. It's just tough. And then here's the other thing, you guys. The other thing is, I've been talking to people about this lately. And by the way, phone lines are up. Summer, I don't know what we get. Some of these shows are popping in the summer with a lot of calls, and other days, like, it's hardly a drip, only a few. I don't know. It's summer, man. People come and go. They have their lives. So do whatever you're going to do. But I'm here for you. If you have any Notre Dame thoughts, you got to get out. 312-900-8815, dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny, oh, you've heard and seen. All right. So here's where we're at. And I see this battle and I see this struggle all over on Twitter and my texts, the phone conversations I'm having with Notre Dame fans, Notre Dame people. Okay. Here's where I feel like a lot of us are at. We want to go after the top recruits. If Notre Dame's gonna, Brandon Fry, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing good down in Georgia. Miss you around the South Bend area, buddy. Hopefully you can come back for the tailgate game, Miami, Ohio. Wonderful family too. Miss you guys. Here's where I think we're at. And here's something Notre Dame fans have to think about. We want more high-end recruits. We need more five-star guys. We need more. What do I always say? The quickest way to close the gap between Notre Dame and the top few teams that have the most talent is Notre Dame's got to find more guys they could recruit that could get on the field and contribute and compete early in their Notre Dame tenure. That's the quickest way to close the gap. Finding guys you recruit and then they're there and they can compete early. Maybe they're not even starters, but they're pushing the starter or they provide depth. It's not a situation where if they have to go in, it's a 70% drop off from the starter, right? That kind of thing. So we all want those kind of guys, 4 or 5-star guys, especially when you start getting into the skill talent guys, as far as quarterbacks, you start looking at wide receivers, that kind of thing. Elite defensive, like key defensive positions, all this stuff. So that's who we want. Then we're in the mix or have commitments from a lot of those guys, Taylor, Deuce, whatever. But then everybody gets mad because the big boys are trying to get them from us, or other SEC teams want our quarterback or whatever, and people are trying to take our guys. You got to pick a lane. You got to pick a lane. Follow me. Notre Dame people don't like when all these other people are trying to steal our people. And there's this feeling of you're like kind of a hostage and you're like, oh boy, what are they going to offer and promise that we're not going to offer and promise? You know, that kind of dynamic. Like what is this going to do? You just feel like a victim, kind of like you made your pitch, you got the commitment, whatever. And then you're sitting there in the clubhouse and you're seeing what else everybody's going to offer your people or try and steal your people or whatever it is. Okay, fine. You got to pick a lane, though. I have been yelling about RKGs and too many guys like with my body type on the Notre Dame sideline. When you too many of these recruiting classes, when we get down to a handful of spots left, nobody on our board that we actually target and want at a high level is interested in us. They've all gone elsewhere. We're not even on their board. So then we end up signing 4 or 5 guys to fill out the numbers at the bottom of their recruiting class. And they all look like me. And they love Notre Dame. They don't want to go anywhere else. They don't want to go anywhere else. They have Notre Dame in their heart. They're Notre Dame kids from private schools, like have the great, they love it. And they want Notre Dame. They don't even want to look. It makes their life dream come true to get that Notre Dame offer. And they're going to give everything they have to Notre Dame. But they're just not good enough. So when you do that, then the complaint is you're a 3-star factory, and then I say RKGs or whatever. But those are the guys that only have eyes for Notre Dame. When you want to swim in the deep end with Deuce, with Taylor, with those kind of guys, when you want to swim in the deep end of the recruiting pool, this is the BS that comes with it. This is the BS that comes with it. That's just the reality. You should want Notre Dame to have a bunch of guys committed that SEC teams and Georgia's trying to steal, or Iowa State, or you're in competition with those teams or whatever. That's what you want. That's what you want. Now, we need Notre Dame to like win some of those battles, and that's a whole different discussion. That's a whole different discussion. I'm just saying, there's some irony in this. When it's an RKG factory and they're all in on Notre Dame, that's not good enough for us. And then when you go after the top end guys, they're getting wined, dined, possibly 69 on every recruiting visit all over, and the red carpet's getting rolled out, and it is what it is. You're not going to find a bunch of these 4- and 5-star guys that are just going to say, I'm going to Notre Dame and I'm not even interested in seeing what else is out there or whatever. I just don't think you're going to get that. I just don't think you're going to get that. And so I understand that the anxiety, trust me, nobody understands. Jay Carr, absolutely not. It's absolutely not under 6 for him. No. But you're just not going to get that. And so it's a compliment that other high-level teams we think a lot of that have a lot of talent are going after our guys. But you got to land them. That's the issue here, you guys. You got to figure out a way to maintain or land more of those guys. Like, you got to win a couple of these battles and everything will feel better. It's just that we've lost them so often in the past. It's in people's minds. And you're always, if you're a Notre Dame person, you're kind of expecting the worst case to happen and the bottom to fall out. You just aren't. That's been our history with too many of these top guys or classes we think are going to be great or whatever. So there's a big in-between here between the RKG thing that nobody likes, but those guys all love Notre Dame and want to go to Notre Dame. And then the elite guys, but it's like, but I don't want them to visit anywhere else or be interested, whatever. You ain't getting that. You ain't getting that. Those top-end guys come with a little juice, man, and they're going to take their visits and they're going to listen to all the... Got to figure out a way to land these people. You got to find a way to win a few of these. And I got news for you, man. Deuce is a game changer in so many ways. Miss me with he's not polished, blah, 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 blah. The guy is such a gifted natural athlete coming out of the part of the country's coming from. It would be a big, big, big win for Notre Dame on the field and perceptually. You know me, I like talking about that perception of Notre Dame. If you're able to ink that signature, it changes a lot. It's like I talked about the Ohio State game. The reason my stomach was spinning for a week afterwards, it wasn't just that won or lost game on the ledger. It was what it represented, what that moment represented, and could have changed for Notre Dame. And you had it in your hand and you let it go. That was the devastating part. Same thing with Deuce. If you're able to land this one, it has repercussions way bigger than just that one player on one recruiting list for that year. It would signify something else. Something else. Oh my, look at this. Sam Hartman's ink signature at that event changed John's life. Yeah, it did for sure. You know whose life it changed? All of the wives and the girlfriends that were in the line. That's whose life I think it changed. Oh man. He was looking good that day. He was showing off too, man. He had like short shorts on. You know the style the younger guys wear, like the shorter athletic shorts showing a little thigh. Oh, man. I'm telling you, you should have heard it in the line. Everybody was excited. It was great. But yeah, changed my life forever, man. We're gonna put it on eBay and see how much I could get. Oh, boy. Oh, Chief. You must have a loose shark to chase or something. In a bad mood today? I want John to miss me with Freeman works hard and loves Notre Dame until we actually do something on the field. If they win week one, then okay. Look at you setting the tone here. Here's the deal. Freeman works hard and loves Notre Dame is relevant whether we win on the field or not. And the reason it's relevant is I couldn't say that about the last regime. At least the head guy. Like, that's always going to be relevant. If you want to tell me you don't care, that's different. If you want to tell me you don't care that he works hard and loves Notre Dame unless we win, that's actually very different. That's very different. But like, that is kind of a big deal because it was one of my number one complaints about the last guy. Not working hard enough and not really loving Notre Dame. I don't think Brian Kelly did not like us, the fans. He did not like Notre Dame fans because we all wanted more. He let you know that on the podium every chance he got. Every last big moment he failed in and we get blown off the field and we get asked, like, is it ever going to get better? He got mad and told you this is good as it's going to be. We're shopping down a different aisle. Shut up and accept it. And we're winning the Pinstripe Bowl, baby. Woo! Bingo card. Let's see. Which one is it? Brian Kelly. He's on the bingo card. RKG. We just covered RKGs. They're on the bingo card. We got a 574 coming up here. You're going to be the first caller. Let me do a couple of these chats. Of course, it's on the bingo card. John wishes he was best friends with Freeman and Hartman. He got fear of missing out when they went fishing together. Come on, man. Deuce has been on campus like 68 times. Somebody wrote how often he's been around, man. He's been around Notre Dame so much. Can you even imagine this kind of environment and what this show is going to be like if he does flip? I'm going to flip out, just like I almost did over the back of the stadium during the game last year, the Central game. When Hartman's leg went over his head like Gumby. I almost went over the stadium. You've all heard it. I seized. My body seized. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Notre Dame. Very creative name. Notre Dame says shut up and cheer. That sounds good. If it was Jack, it'd be shut up and send us your money. Shut up and send us your money. Thomas Perry, good morning. Freeman runs circles around BK. The guy is tireless. Here's the issue. The issue is, here's how I'm thinking of this. You guys are not wrong. No one in this chat is wrong if you're saying, I haven't really seen the on-field results that match the energy and the effort that I always respect and talk about with Freeman. If you want to say that you haven't seen the results match that effort on the field, I don't think there's a way to disagree with that. Now, you have had the couple big wins, like big win, upset wins or whatever. I think he's got as many top 10 wins in 2 years as Kelly had in 12, whatever. But if you wanted to say overall you haven't seen those results yet that seem to match that effort, I actually agree with you. I agree with you. And then your thought is, if you're doing that much genuine hard work and you're hearing all these good things and there's all this stuff, mechanisms behind the scenes are starting to change to help the football program, whatever that, like that old dynamic. I want to feel like eventually that's got to pay off on the field, right? If you work that hard for so long and you have your assistants working that hard or whatever, and you're doing all this work behind the scenes, like oftentimes I feel like the on-field result you want is the last piece of the puzzle you see. Does that resonate with anybody? Like the way I'm thinking of that and the way I feel about that? Like you got to do all that work that we're talking about behind the scenes. And then it just feels like the on-the-field final product that you want is likely to be the last thing that comes out of all this. And you just need to get there. You just need to get there. And you need to get there on August 31st. You need to get there on August 31st. There's just no way around it. You just do. You need to win that football game. And again, I don't need it to be a masterpiece and be all pretty and all perfect. It doesn't need to be that week one. You just need to get a win week one. You just need to get a win week one. But if anyone wants to tell me, we need bigger results. We haven't seen enough results for me to feel yeah, you're totally right. I would like to see the hard work that I see pay off on the field so that Freeman and everybody involved gets credit for that hard work. If you go 9-3, bad news for you. No one cares how hard you're working if the result isn't good enough. I mean, I care theoretically, but ultimately it doesn't matter because that record's going to be the record. Like, let's make no doubt about it. The effort and how hard you're recruiting and how many miles are on the private Notre Dame donor jet and all that. If the records are 9-3, 9-3, 9-3, 9-3 or whatever, then all that hard work is, it's not going to matter as much. I'm not backtracking, but I acknowledge I'm forward tracking. I'm acknowledging that all the stuff I say I value has to start paying off on the field or it isn't going to mean much. I'm not backtracking. I'm forward tracking. All that hard work does have to pay off on the field in a higher level result. That's absolutely accurate. But while we're on this journey, I'm acknowledging the guy's working as hard as he can. And you got to have a big year, damn it. You got to have a big year. What is this? 574, I'm coming to you in a minute. I still haven't watched the Ohio State postgame show. I might have to endure the pain and watch it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Why do that to yourself? That was the most traumatic. Genuinely, it was the most traumatic media thing I've ever done since I've had this show. And here's why. John, you had the show in 2017 when we got blown out by Miami and you were screaming and yelling and pounding your desk. Accurate. John, you lost your mind in 2019 when we went to the big house and acted uninterested in playing and got road graded right off the field and humiliated in front of the whole country. Yeah, I was there for that. Or I wasn't there for that. I'll never walk in that building. I mean, I remember that. Here's why it was different. taken the calls. All those other ones were before I had the radio show, and it was just me being miserable for 20 minutes, yelling, getting it out. Every phone call I took, people were so devastated, so upset, so drunk. It was absolutely miserable. Absolutely. I could feel the pain. Rodney was on here yelling at Pat. Like, Pat, you said USC was a bigger deal. I'm blaming you for this. We have people blaming Pat for the result. Everybody was calling in hammered and miserable. It was genuinely the most painful content thing I've ever done since 2016 when I started this. Nothing even comes close to that call-in show. It was absolutely excruciating. It was absolutely horrible. Oh, man. Sweaty Mike. Is Sweaty Mike here? Good morning to you, sir. Sweaty Mike, I owe you a show or two, man. I really do. I just do. I have so much crap to do. Otherwise, I'd call in. You beating high schoolers in Fortnite is not crap, Mike. Sweaty Mike's in the house. Sweaty Mike's in the house. Good dude. Good dude. Sweaty. He did call me, Mark with glasses. He called me a couple weeks ago when he was in between playing whatever video game, Fortnite or whatever. He's just like, John, I'm like, what's up, dude? And he's like, I just need a little pep talk, man, before I get into this next matchup here. And I didn't even understand the game he was playing, and I gave him some little rock me, rah, rah. And he was like, oh, thanks, John. I feel better about that. I'm ready to go beat this guy. Nick Dean, I called in after 10 Miller Lights, and my wife yelled at me to get off the phone. It was miserable, but I am going to say this. I believe it was an important show to do. I didn't want to do it, and I was completely devastated. And here's the other thing you got to understand. I'm not making this whole show about this. It's too damn depressing. The other thing you got to understand is I went live 30 seconds after the game ended. It took a few minutes for the news to come out that we only had 10 guys for multiple plays. I did not know that. The second the game ended, I turned the TV off, came in here and hit go. I did not notice it live when it happened. And then I'm sitting here and it was already bad. And then the news came out about the 10-man thing. Bro, my soul left my body. Just like I described with Push Push. It was one of those cartoon moments where like I felt like I saw my body floating out of my carcass and just leaving. Like literally, I honestly felt my soul leave my body in that moment. It was another one of those. It was, but we needed that therapy. And you guys deserve that outlet, even though I admit I almost had a nervous breakdown after that show. Because I had no time to process the nightmare. I had no time going live 10 seconds after the game to process it on my own, what just happened. And then it was 2.5 hours of misery. And I just remember sitting there like a zombie and just like whacked out, bro. Easy fix, John. Just add an 11th defender. I think that would be ideal. It would be. John gets rattled when he doesn't have a prepared built-in excuse for free pass. I don't understand what else you want me to say other than you got to have 11 guys on the field next time. Like, what do you want me to say? Completely unacceptable, never okay, humiliating on the biggest possible stage. I don't know how that's covering for the guy. But if you want me to say, oh my God, he had 11 guys, you got to fire him this minute, I wasn't going to go there because it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So that's just tough. It's tough. All right, a couple chats, and then we'll go to the calls. 574 is coming up, and we got a little bit of news, some scheduling news too for Notre Dame, and I have a theory on that because I know how that's going to go. Look at this. ND should be favored and win every game this season. More talent than every team they play. It's not debatable. A pair of excellent coordinators running the show equals 12-0. Here's what I've learned, though. Man, it seems easy to look at a schedule a long ways out and be like, oh, this team's that, and this team isn't this, and we should be able to do this and that. Yeah, we do it every year. Every team does, every fan base does it every year where you just look at the schedule. Oh, win, loss, blah, blah, blah. We should be able to do this or that. Or last year, this team was this or that, so this will happen or whatever. And then what do you realize? The year starts and a lot of things get way more complicated. It's one thing I've learned about projecting schedules out and being like win, loss, win, loss. Once that ball starts getting kicked off, man, things seem to change. Some teams aren't as good as you wanted them to be. Other teams are better than you thought they'd be. The dynamics of like how it sets up. Think about this. Look at Duke last year. You had Duke on the schedule as like a trap game in all of our minds as Notre Dame people. That was like a trappy trap game. All through the summer, we talked about that as being a trap and an uncomfortable moment. I don't think many people had them beating Clemson, which totally, in my mind, changed the dynamic even more. Those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Duke was already that trap game. They beat Clemson. That whole dynamic changed for Notre Dame Duke. Like, you just never know what's going to happen. Here's the other thing with 12-0. If Notre Dame goes 12-0, they get a 5 seed. Probably you're hosting what? The group of 5 team, and then the Big 12 champ in the next round. With Notre Dame ineligible to get a bye, no matter what their record is, that is the best case scenario you could ask for. You get that 5 seed, you're hosting a group of 5 team at home in the cold, and theoretically, I'm guessing the Big 12 champ's going to be probably ranked behind the Big 10 and the SEC champ. So then that's a matchup you would want comparative to the other ones or whatever. I think that would help Notre Dame. Best possible case for Notre Dame is that path. Because at 12-0, I think you're going to get that 5 and make it come alive, baby. So there you go. And here's the deal. I'm not a math expert. Everybody knows that. But you can't go 12-0 unless you start out 1-0. Kind of a big moment. Kind of a big moment. Look at this. 574, I'm coming to you, I swear. John, you see Michigan didn't want smoke, so we had to schedule little brother. I don't know if that's true or not. I've had something going on every night this week. There's like a community festival in town. So I've been every evening over there working for the city, the big city there, helping out over there. So I've not been on Twitter. I'm totally out of my routine. I didn't see that we tried to do the Michigan thing or not. I think, what is it? Big House 32 is the next time they're on the schedule, unless it's a playoff scenario. Here's my thoughts on scheduling Michigan State. See if you guys agree with this or not. If you're my age or older, especially, it's cool to have this old rival back on the schedule that we've had some historic battles with. I think if you're 40 plus, I think you're going to have a stronger memory of all the Michigan State stuff, like over the years and over the decades. And I think those people are really going to appreciate that. What do I guess everybody else's reaction is going to be that hates Notre Dame and wants crap on Notre Dame all the time, no matter what? They're going to say, oh, of course, Notre Dame schedules Michigan State when they're down and out and the recruiting's bad and they fired Mel Tucker and you have all these problems and they're down and out. That's when Notre Dame's going to schedule Michigan State. You don't get any respect for that, blah, blah, blah. I've seen it. Like, that's how I just feel like that's going to be the narrative. Is, oh, Notre Dame wants to have a Big Ten feather in their cap and whatever, and they're just scheduling Michigan State while they're down. Like, that's going to be the narrative. Listen, the people that hate Notre Dame really hate Notre Dame. They're going to find a reason to poo-poo everything we do, okay? That's just the way it's going to be. Sounds like NOB is ours for the taking. I was worried about Ohio State. Apparently, he's leaning ND. I have heard good things. And again, I'm not acting like I'm the biggest recruiting expert around here. I'm not acting like I'm that guy and that's my lane. Everybody that I've talked to behind the scenes feels pretty good about it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I feel pretty good about it. I was told to feel good about Madden Faremo too. So can you double up on these dudes? Can you double up, double dip it, double dunk it, do whatever. Get them both. Get them both. I wonder what Johnny's going to say when he sees more than one slant or screen a game this year. Like, dude, here's my beef with this. My beef is when you keep seeing when Notre Dame kept throwing all like the last 20, 25 years, literally, they would throw to the short side of the field on like a quick out on the short side of the field. You right, the short hash. And they would just snap the ball and throw it out there wide. And then the guy gets tackled and it's a half-yard gain or a 1-yard loss. And there's no blocking and the guy can't get away from anybody. And it's almost like just taking a knee. That's like, it's 2nd and 10. What are we going to do? We're just going to willfully snap the ball and then take a knee. That's always been my problem. That's always my problem with those kind of like quick outs or whatever to Notre Dame. They throw it out. So number one is we usually don't have good enough athletes on the outside. You could just get the ball to them and they make all the moves themselves and end up getting an 8-yard gain or whatever. Rarely have we had that. And then there's never usually any blocking out there. A lot of times there might even be another wide receiver out there. And what does he do? Kind of gets in the way of the Notre Dame guy and then drags another defender nearby. And then it's got like, I have no problem throwing screens and slants and outs and all that stuff, but you got to do them the right way. Have blocking out there or have an athlete where you're throwing it out there on a one-on-one matchup on purpose because you know our guy can win. You know our guy can win. That's why you throw it out there one-on-one with no blocking. We've been doing it with guys that can't win one-on-one, and you don't get any blocking. Come on. Come on. Parker ran a tunnel screen a lot. Well, I'm glad he took a tunnel from here right to Troy. Son of a gun. Unbelievable. Look at this. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. When Indy wins the Natty at 24, gonna get a lot of that Hawk Tua from the bandwagons. Whatever, man. If we win the title, you can Hawk Tua anybody you want, and I'll be in favor of it. Whatever, man. I don't care. And again, if we win a championship, me and Pat are throwing up the party of a lifetime, and you're all invited. I don't know where. I don't know where it's gonna be. I don't know how much it's gonna cost. I don't care. We are having the party of a lifetime. Hopefully, we're all alive to be seeing it. The tunnel screen worked like once for 10 yards. Yeah. Thanks for the comments on the Justin Thurman interview that Goolsby and I did. Here's the one thing I've noticed from interviewing a bunch of these recruits over the months. These Notre Dame guys are so well-spoken and they're so mature for their age. 574, I got you. I promise, for the 50th time. Oh, players with John's body type. It's on the list. We already hit that once or twice today. You guys are cracking me up. Look at this. If we win the Natty, we got to pull out old receipts on who was down for day one and who was hating. Listen, Notre Dame fans handle their pain all differently, Mark. Some of them do it in a negative way, and it's to set the bar low. Do you understand what I mean? Like, if you set the low bar, then you're not as disappointed when things go bad. There's a lot of people in this fan base that are in that spot, and they won't even admit it. But they're down on everything. They tell themselves it's going to be bad. They convince themselves we're going to lose every big game, and there's no chance we're going to win it, to soften the blow if things go bad. And some of that is a defense mechanism internally. But some of it is also Notre Dame's fault because they failed in so many of those big moments throughout our lives. And so they have set the table and put it in people's minds. They've put it in our minds that you're going to have disappointment. I can't blame the fan base for that. Notre Dame did that. They failed in these moments so spectacularly over the years in the regular season and then the playoff games of the BCS title. Like whenever you get to that biggest moment, it's the biggest letdown. Notre Dame's done that. That's not our fault. So if anybody's like hedging their emotions and preparing for the worst, I understand it. But I also do think it's healthy to have a little optimism when you do see some good things going on. Maybe Sweaty Mike's in here and he could give you the what I'm hoping is good recruiting news coming soon. A couple of these guys pop back to back in the next few weeks or whatever they're going to do. There's a little window, 4th of July post window where a lot of guys are going to commit. I don't know. We'll see. Some of you guys are being funny. We got a lot of comedians in the chat. 574, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hi, John. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I'd like to know how you're doing there in South Bend. What's the news? What's going on?
I mean, everything's going good, but didn't you guys hear about what happened with the swimming team?
All right, here's the deal. I need somebody to fill me in on the details. I read the alert that they were looking into some issues, but I am being honest when I say I have no insight. That's not my lane. I don't have contacts in that lane that give me info. I have no idea what that's about. Do you have any insight?
Well, it looks like a Blackhawk type situation where, like, they're looking into it and all this stuff, and they'll probably end up firing the coach. So hopefully it doesn't, like, lead to a big lawsuit and a bad media storm on ESPN. That's the biggest thing. But it's probably not going to come out until after the Olympics, though.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I did see Pete's write-up on it or whatever, where he put out that message saying they were going to look into stuff. And then, listen, the unfortunate part about this is when I saw this news on Twitter, you know how a lot of people are. They were going, I don't care about this because it isn't football. So I'm just glad it's not a football problem. Like, I know that's wrong. And if you love Notre Dame, you should want all of it to be healthy in every different area of sports and academia and everything. But I saw a lot of people that only care about football being like, I don't care about that because it's not football. I'm just glad if this was going to happen, it wasn't that. But definitely for a place like Notre Dame that talks about its decorum and how we treat people and do things, it's definitely not a great look.
No, it's not. Because imagine if, like, something big, like big news story happened, was doing bad things in Notre Dame. Oh, imagine the football recruits looking at Notre Dame. They're going to be like, that place doesn't treat people right. Look at their swimming team.
Do you think that that's how those guys look at it, though? Like, I understand what you're saying, and I'm thinking about it, but it's like the swimming and diving culture is so different than a football culture. I wonder what it means. It's definitely not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing, but like I don't know if they would think that or not.
Oh, for sure.
Or do any of the parents have that concern of like, oh no, like maybe there's a little culture issue here or whatever. I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know. I could see that both ways.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what right now because we don't really know about it. Maybe this will die. Maybe this will go away. But I just don't want this to like pop up sometimes, like right before we're getting ready to start the football season.
Yeah. Well, I just here. Okay, follow me here. You work like you're on the grounds. You're there all the time. You're in Notre Dame culture. You're a lot more connected to everything happening in Notre Dame, football and otherwise. I just feel like there's a lot of people that are like football only and they're going to like ignore, like look the other way or be like, this doesn't have anything to do with what I'm into, because I just don't feel like a lot into the whole operation the way you are. And they're more like, as long as football's all right, then we're all right. Like, I don't see this blowing up into a huge thing only because that sport doesn't generate all the heat. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just telling you I could see that being the way a lot of the diehard football people will look at it.
For sure. I mean, most people don't really pay attention to this kind of stuff unless it blows up and ends up on ESPN. But that's my only concern with this story is it doesn't blow up to a point where it ends up all over ESPN.
Yeah, it's that would not be ideal. But again, it's a lot better than when Kelly was on ESPN for having a tutor help people or whatever. We had to give away the wins and everybody was getting in trouble. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Of all the things I got to worry about with this program, I can't worry about swimming and diving too, right? Like, I got enough worries with the football program. I can't worry about what they're doing in this pool.
Exactly. I mean, I don't really pay attention too much to that, but once I saw that story, I'm like, that's not a good look.
Oh, it's definitely not a good look. I'm just not sure how much it bleeds into what anybody thinks of the football or the athletic program overall. That's the part I'm unsure on. Can I ask you something else?
Yes.
I would like to know, how's the construction going on the new football facility? What do we got going over there? I need an update.
I don't really go over there because, again, it's all torn up. But I know they have to have all the parking lots and all that stuff ready before Northern Illinois comes to town.
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, they had everything.
30 times for construction so they can get everything done before the students get back. So they have at the moment, the day after graduation, I kid you not, they already have the construction crews out. They're closing off streets and they're pretty much already begin work on everything.
Yeah, it's man, when I was there a few weeks ago, there was already construction everywhere. Gotta walk around like the road's closed. The main road pulling into Notre Dame had construction. Everything had construction. It's construction time. And then you just got to get it done before that first home game.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get it done before the big game against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, and speaking of Northern Illinois, you got to win week 1 and then carry that energy into that first home game. You just have to.
Oh, for sure.
There's no way around it. You have to. It's even though it's the first home game, if you lose to A&M, that place is going to be awkwardly, unusually quiet for the first home game. It's just going to be impossible to have a lot of energy and everybody to be upbeat when you're beating the hell out of Northern Illinois, but you lost the game that you needed. Like, I'm sorry, but there's going to be a weird tone because nobody's going to care if you beat Northern Illinois 50-0 if you lose week 1. I'm sorry. It's just the reality. It doesn't move the needle. And that's not what this is about. This is about winning week 1.
Oh, for sure. I mean, let's be honest. Does anyone pay attention to MAC football? Because I heard Ball State had 2,000 people show up for a November football game. Put that in perspective. The Compton Family Ace Arena averages 4,500 for hockey, and that's not even a sellout. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I don't know. And then let me ask you this. I understand the ticket demand and everything has been way higher this season than what they're used to. Are you experiencing that as well? Like the ticket reps and all the people that I've talked to, it seems like everything's been selling out way faster for game tickets and parking than they usually do. And so I don't know any other way to interpret that other than the fan base is really kind of excited thinking this could be a big year. That's what that tells me. I don't know any other way to interpret it, but everything's selling out way quicker than it did 1 year ago in the summer. And it feels like it does. It feels like people are feeling like this is the year everything comes together. And I just find that to be an interesting social experiment that I feel, and that momentum's building, and it kind of tells you where the group is overall. And so it's going to be a big year, a really big year.
For sure. I mean, you can tell the fan base was buying tickets right away because I went on the lovely Notre Dame ticketing website. I clicked on the Louisville game. Normally, like last year, you probably could get a ticket for $80. I went on the website. The tickets are almost gone. It's probably going to be a sold out game.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. It's going to be it's going to be so interesting. And then do you have any thoughts on Notre Dame's recruiting class? Everybody wants 5-star guys, but they only want them to have eyes for Notre Dame and not even be interested in anything else. And that's just not the way it's going to go. So you either get RKGs that look like me and you that love Notre Dame, but they're not good enough to win you anything, or you got to go in the deep end of the recruiting pool and be able to pull some of those victories off. You got to find a way to win some of these.
I mean, for sure. I mean, what I think about the recruiting class is, let's be honest, it's all NIL influence. It's like, why did Nick Saban, for example, quit coaching? He said to Congress it was about NIL and all the players wanting money. There's got to be some truth into that. I mean, you got to be able to. I mean, I think they're paying guys under the table because kids today only worry about money, and that's probably what's going on right now. Deuce May and all these guys are just making sure that they're going to get paid when they go to college and not have someone else offer them money, more money.
Let me ask you this. You know, that the NCAA ruling came out, or the settlement, the court situation, that settlement came out. And every school is going to have to pay these guys kind of like a base salary moving forward. I think 25 or whatever that kicks in. So that means freshmen are guaranteed money, like whatever. Everybody's getting something. Do you feel like maybe that could help Notre Dame a little bit because freshmen are going to be guaranteed to make a decent chunk of change right away? And that's not been how Notre Dame's been operating with NIL. Or do you feel like everybody's going to do that and then the other teams are going to add $250,000 on top of that and we're in the same spot? But it crossed my mind that Notre Dame's been a little hesitant to guarantee money to freshmen coming in, but they're going to have to from now on. I don't know whether this helps or it's just going to perpetuate the problem of people going above and beyond with under the table money and you're in the same damn spot. I don't know the answer.
Here's the problem. What I think about a base salary is like, let's say, for example, Notre Dame guarantees $5,000, and that's in Indiana. But here's the problem. Let's say USC guarantees $7,000 because it's in California. Now, they're about even in terms of economics because of taxes. But here's the issue. A person will see $7,000 as more money, even though the taxes are higher in California. So to a college kid, $7,000 seems like more money, but in reality, they're about the same.
Yeah, it's it's an imperfect science. And it isn't going to get any easier. Yeah. It isn't going to get any easier. Now, I have heard, though, and maybe some people that are always on the backboards or have the inside scoop can verify this. My understanding is that Notre Dame's getting a lot more open to understanding that they're going to have to start giving some money to some freshmen when they could, like NIL money. I think they were really against that. And I understood the theory. The theory was, we're uncomfortable giving these freshmen money before we know they're going to be good people, get through school, and be really good players and do everything we need them to do. We're not guaranteeing you money till you prove at Notre Dame, not high school, not on the Rivals website, till you prove at Notre Dame that you can handle that and you're a good person and going to do all the right things. That used to be the way. I think I've heard Notre Dame starting to change that. Deuce is going to get some money as a freshman, and I don't think it's going to be a little amount. I believe Notre Dame's changing their mind on that because they're realizing, I don't know how you're going to land a bunch of great players if you don't do that and everybody else does. So I think they're uncomfortable with it still, but they're picking their spots to have flexibility. What do you make of that?
That just shows the changing landscape of college football. I mean, Notre Dame's trying to do everything they can to put a viable product on the field for you people out there watching this show right now, because They don't want to put on a 3-9 team. Nobody's going to show up, and we're starting a bunch of transfers from Harvard. No one wants to watch that.
Yeah. It's I don't know. And then I was thinking to myself about Notre Dame's roster this year, and there are some what ifs, but I gotta say, this feels like a healthy blend. You've heard me say it before, of older established players in a lot of spots, and then some youth mixed in it. And I like that blend. There are still concerns, but I like that blend, especially on defense. I feel like you have some reliable cogs that you could trust, and in a foundation of some guys that you trust. And then you mix in these really athletic guys that are younger and longer and more athletic around them. That's a good spot to be. I feel this is by far the most well-rounded roster Freeman's had, and I want to see that pay off on the damn field.
Me too. I mean, let's be honest here. Al Golden is the best defensive coordinator in the country right now, in my opinion. I mean, the biggest problem for me is the offense. If they can produce, if they could blow out teams like 58-1, 7 against Northern Illinois instead of playing down to these teams, I mean, that's a better look to Notre Dame than playing a close game. It ends up on Twitter all over, because then the people are just going to just use it to throw dirt on Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's this is such a big year, and I keep sitting there trying to be like, John, are you being over dramatic? When I'm writing an article or I'm doing a show or whatever, it's like, are you being over dramatic? Am I overdoing it? Which I've done in the past. And I admit I've done that in the past. And my personality lends to that, like everything feeling bigger than it is, because I'm waving around and yelling and doing all the goofy faces I do and noises. I can't find a way around thinking this is just a big, big moment in Notre Dame football where we're at. And it's a big moment for Freeman. It's a big moment for the fan base. A lot of people are on the fence. Do I buy in on Freeman or not? It's a big year. You got to be in that. It's just got to be a good year. It's just time.
It is a huge year.
It's just time.
You gotta have a good year. These first 5 games are the biggest 5 games in Notre Dame in a very long time. I mean, this is the season everyone got hyped up for. I mean, this is a huge moment in Notre Dame history. You got to win these first 5 games. It's not just Texas A&M. You got to win the first 5 games. Yeah.
It's and again, you bring up a good point about when these games are. The scheduling matters. Last year, your big moment was week 5. You had 4 games you had to prepare for. And in August, you had a responsible obligation to prep for Navy and that trip and all the goofy Navy stuff. You had an obligation to focus on that. You could not worry about what Ohio State was going to do in August because you had to worry about this goofy Navy setup and winning all those games first. This is totally different, damn it. It's totally different. Your big moment is week 1, and you are allowed to build it up into whatever you want, and the runway leads right into A&M. There's no excuses. You could make it all about that moment and how important it is. And this is not a business trip. This is not a business trip. This is not we punch in, we clock in and clock out and do our job. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And the A&M people are pretty miserable this week. That's the other thing. The A&M people are completely miserable. They lost the College World Series. Then they lost their whole staff to their hated rival after the coach said, I'm not leaving. They are down and out. They are completely miserable. The next chance A&M people have to be happy is August 31st. And I'll be damned if it's going to happen on our watch. No.
Oh, man.
No.
I hope.
No.
I do not want these A&M people being crazy. I mean, I wanted to go to that game really bad. But the tickets are $550, so I'm going to be watching it in my living room. But, man, if I see A&M people being obnoxious to Notre Dame, I'm going to wish I was in Texas.
I think we need to send you down there to regulate the situation. I think we need you to go down there and lay down the law on this weird cult. I'm serious. But I'm not messing around. I know it's baseball, but the collective misery of that cult right now, all of their attention's on A&M, on Notre Dame and A&M. That's the next chance they have to not be miserable. And I'm not here for that. I need us to double down on their sports misery and that weird cult. I need it. I need it.
I know. We need to get a lot more Notre Dame fans out there. Some people have money who have $550 to buy tickets for that game because, I mean, we know that place is going to be crazy. It's going to be Saturday night, Labor Day weekend. They have 2 days off of work. That place is going to be nuts.
Let me ask you this. What percentage of that fan base do you expect to be Notre Dame fans? It's a good question. I know we have Notre Dame people down like all over, whatever. I mean, are you expect
there's a lot of Notre Dame fans in Texas?
But are they going to be there? Like, are you thinking 10%, 20%, 5%? Like, what do you even anticipate? And you're the one to ask this because of your proximity to the Notre Dame fan base and the work you do. You know more than most how the fan base flows and goes. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be somewhere around 10%, but I mean, we don't know because here's the issue. I mean, the ticket market on StubHub is not like in England where they have segregated sections. This is like one market for the whole stadium, so we don't know who bought the tickets. We don't know, for example, when I look at the Louisville game, I don't even know if Notre Dame fans bought those tickets. I don't know how much it's going to be Louisville and how much it's going to be A&M. So I don't really know. My guess is somewhere around 10% Notre Dame but we don't know how the tickets are allotted at A&M.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting. So, hey, I want to thank you for touching base. Football be here before you know it. If I don't hear if I don't hear from you, have a good 4th of July and keep up the good work. I know a lot of people now that work for Notre Dame in various different areas. Everybody does their part to further the Notre Dame mission with their gifts and doing their part to further the movement here. And I appreciate that. So, I'm glad that you're one of those people that's a loyal Notre Dame person, serving Our Lady and trying to make Notre Dame a better place. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one. And have a good 4th of July, John. Have a good one.
Oh, thank you. You take care now. Yeah, I'm going to try not to blow off my digits, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's the other thing, you guys. That's the other thing. We were talking about this driving the other day, and you start seeing these firework tents put up in like a Walmart parking lot, and it's like a little tent, and they're like, come. It's almost like I picture in my mind like the Joe Dirt fireworks scene, and I picture like Joe Dirt working at the fireworks stand, and it's one of those pop-up tents, and they're putting it in like, get yourself some bottle rockets. Bro, I'm too old for fireworks. I just am. When I was a kid, I wanted to go buy them and throw them all over and blow stuff up. And if I put it on something and throw it in the water, what happens? And then somebody puts one in a mailbox. Like, you're a dumb kid or whatever. And I used to beg my dad. It was illegal in Illinois. We would beg my dad, can you drive us across the Indiana border to Crazy Kaplan's so I could get a bunch of bottle rockets or whatever? Bro, I have no interest in blowing my hand off with the firework. Like, it's such a turnoff to me. The idea that I would be interested in grabbing whistling bungholes. Let's leave Taco Bell out of this. It's now at almost 40 that you could be like, you know what I think's a good idea? I'm going to rip off 20 of these Miller Lights all day. And then I'm going to go grab a bunch of these fireworks that were made in a factory by children in the Philippines for pennies, shipped all the way to Illinois or whatever, and I'm going to put that in my hand and light it on fire, and that's what I'm doing tonight. I can't make it make sense. Like, I'm old, and now I'm like too old. What could go? Like, there's no benefit that firework could give me that is worth me blowing my end off. And here's the other thing, too. Oh, I like drunk fireworks. I'm just not going to be the one to do it. I'll watch somebody else do it, but I'm not doing it. And as long as my kid isn't doing it, I don't care. As anybody else can do that. What if I came back after 4th of July and I'm like, all right, guys, happy 4th of July. I picked up a quarter stick of dynamite. I had too many beers and I forgot to throw it. It's going to be really hard to do the show. How am I supposed to do this? And I'm not trying to mock the situation. I'm saying it's a serious deal. It's just not worth it. All right. Oh, now I stretched out my collar. What's going on with this? So yeah, that's the deal with fireworks. And then here's the other problem too. Let me show you something. Hey. All right. Fire Marshal Bill it's an all-timer. It's an all-timer. And I've heard some references to that in the last like 12 hours too, by the way. That's an all-timer. I can't believe you guys are turning on me for my fireworks take. I didn't know to be American, you literally had to blow off sticks of dynamite in your hand and be one of those guys on Twitter that puts a bottle rocket in their mouth and shoots it off. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, man. I don't care about you recording the fireworks that you see and then put it on Twitter or Facebook. I do. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. It's a pet peeve of mine. Oh my God, look at these fireworks. You've seen one, you've seen them all, man. No one cares about your little town in the middle of nowhere's little firework thing. No one cares. No one cares. I bet I'm not trying to be like a jerk, but it's just that nobody cares because they're all the same. Unless something goes wrong and blows up or lights on fire, it's all the same. Bro, I'm sorry. Every one of my feeds on social media is somebody sitting there in a lawn chair. Oh my God, look at this fireworks. I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. What is this? When Indy wins the Natty in 24, John SD Brussels sprouts cooked in chitlin juice. I don't know what a chitlin is, but I don't think I want to find out. A chitlin sounds to me like it's like a chicken with a muscular disorder. Like, I don't know what a chitlin is, but it sounds like a chicken that didn't quite make it that far. Maybe a chicken with a genetic problem or something. Here's the deal, though. I would happily eat a lot of weird stuff if Notre Dame could win a championship. We could record it live. I might barf or something. But like, if we're going to do pig intestines, bro, what is wrong with you people? Pig intestines. Like, bacon isn't good enough for you? Like, you got to have the intestines part? What? Look at the allegations coming against me because I don't want to blow my hand off. I can't believe you guys are turning on me over this fireworks take. Unbelievable. Seriously, I'm about to get pissed off. Are you guys messing around with me? I can't believe you guys are that upset over the fireworks thing. I'm sorry. I just can't scroll through and everybody thinks, I wonder what they think. That's where my mind goes. I wonder what they think when they're like, You know what? This is going to be a hit on Facebook. You know why this is going to be a hit? That I'm at the neighborhood firework thing and the kids are running around and it's themed with, I'm proud to be an American. Watch me blow off my arm. Like, bro. But what are you thinking? This is going to break the internet and it's going to go viral. And this fireworks show in this suburb in the middle of nowhere is the one everyone needs to see. Everybody needs to see it. It's going to be great. It's going to blow their minds. And there ain't no fireworks show like this. They all look like that. They all look like that. I like my bacon kind of crispy, but I'm not going to fight you if there's a little chewy, but it can't be all chewy because that's weird. Mostly crispy with a little hinted chewy is how I'm going for bacon. Yeah, even John likes bacon. I like breakfast foods. Chitlins is pig intestines. Again, what person wakes up in the morning and is like, bro, you know what's on my list? Eggs, chicken, milk, so we need some bread, and I can't forget the pig intestines. Who in the world would ever say that? I just can't understand how people think. Oh, I gotta go to the store and get milk and eggs, and the baby needs some diapers and stuff, and then what else is on the list? Oh yeah, make sure you get a large extra helping of pig intestines. Yeah, we're gonna fry that up. You out of your mind? You know what that reminds me of? I'll never forget this. This show's off the rails. It's a weird day. I could just tell by the chat and what's going on. It's a weird day. I like blood sausage. I don't even know what that means. I don't even want to know what that means. And I'm certainly not going to type it in on the internet. I don't know what that means. That's weird. Blood sausage. I have no concept of what that means. I'll never forget this. We did when I was working in Chicago. When I was working in Chicago, we had a very diverse group of workers where I was working. People from different countries, people from different cultures, all over from Chicago and everywhere else that came, whatever, fine. And we did a potluck. And what they said is everybody bring something from your culture or whatever, to bring for the group or whatever, bro. And I'll never forget, somebody brought chicken wings, but I think they were from another culture's preparatory standards. Bro, there was feathers. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. There was literally feathers on the chicken wings still. And I don't appreciate being put in that position either, where it's now we have this potluck with all these different countries, different foods. And then I'm the guy there, you know how that comes off when you're that guy that wants to sit in the corner and eat a chicken strip and a French fry with no ketchup. And then I got all this other weird stuff from all over, and then I'm not eating any of it. And then everybody's looking at John in the corner. Oh, he's the one. John's the one. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that was too good to eat all that stuff. And bro, you could see feathers on the chicken wings. Literal feather. I don't know. Did the guy does he? Feathers. I didn't like that situation. A potluck with all this different stuff, and everybody's looking and judging because everybody wants somebody to take their stuff that they made or whatever, their little recipe, bro. You can't go wrong with chicken strips. It's pretty safe. Too good for some feathers. You damn right I'm not eating any chicken feathers, bro. Out of your mind? Here's the deal. Notre Dame wine and cheese, $5 holler. Is there any relative comparison for the A&M game and the 21 Wisconsin game? Position matchups, Close game early, but Notre Dame pulls away. I appreciate the $5 holler, but I struggle with this in the way of 260 coming to you. I struggle with this. Number one was that game not at a neutral place? Am I dreaming that? Or was that not at a neutral place? So right away, we're deviating away from what the A&M moment's going to be if it's at a neutral place. How do I cook my steak? I make sure it's done. All right? You know, that's another thing. Okay, here we go. We're going to do this on a Friday. Here's the other thing. I don't understand this stuff where people are like, is this steak just right or overdone or underdone? And the damn thing's still moving around in a field. Red as can be, bleeding out. The thing's muscles are still twitching. You know, it rubs me the wrong way. Some of you guys out there, especially, you want to be like your inner caveman, and you feel like if you're eating a half raw piece of meat you barely cooked, you're a tough guy. Oh, I'm a real man. I'm a caveman. Ooh, you're beating your chest because you're eating a piece of meat that's bleeding still and twitching because you didn't cook it. You're asking for a problem. Me, I'm making sure that I would rather have a piece of meat overdone than underdone any day. You know why? I know the thing is cooked. I know the thing is cooked. If it's brown, when it's bleeding out, it bothers me because it's a tough guy ego thing. You're not a real man if you don't get a straw and drink that blood from your steak. You're not a real man. You know who you are. I don't like some of that. Some of it rubs me the wrong way. It's like a tough guy thing. The more rare your steak is, bro, I just want a cooked piece of meat that isn't going to make me sick. And I got a hard time eating something I see bleeding. Imagine taking John hunting. I'm not a hunter. God, listen, you guys, like, I have nothing against it. Like, if you're a bow hunter or you're like, yeah, I like jerky for sure. The hunting thing, I don't have, like, I'm not one of those people that's like, you know, like, I know a lot of people that live in areas where the deer population's out of control in the Midwest. The deer population's out of control. It's ruining the ecosystem of the other balances of the nature in there and the other animals. And it's like out of control or whatever. And they want to humanely cut that population down for the benefit of the whole ecosystem or whatever. Totally understand that, whatever, like, fine. I personally, I don't want to shoot a good looking deer. Like, I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me. I know that's how we used to live when we were caveman or whatever. I just don't have it in me. And I didn't grow up in an area where that was like a big thing, like in my friend circle. We fished a lot. But I have no interest in killing like a beautiful looking deer. I don't. I like deer jerky. I got a few friends that make that. The deer jerky's good, whatever. And I know a lot of people that eat them. That's fine. I just have no interest in doing that killing. If it was like a bird or something, if it's like a bunch of birds or something, that's different. But like a cool looking deer, I just want to see in nature. I don't have like the impulse to kill that thing, but it's all culture. And I just didn't grow up around that. If I grew up down south, I have a lot of family that did that. It would be different, but that's just not my thing. I see a cool deer with a big rack, and I just wanted to keep ruling the forest. It isn't my place to put it on the wall. I want to see that cool animal doing his thing in the forest. So I don't know. And then here's the one that gets me. 260, you're up next. Here's the one that really bothers me. These people that go to like Africa or something and hunt these exotic rare animals, like shooting a giraffe or like a lion or something. I'm 100% against that. I can't 100%. like some beautiful giraffe, and then they pay to go on some reservation where they're like trapped, and then you're guaranteed to shoot one. That's a BS hobby. That's a BS hobby. I'm totally against that. Like the big game exotic animal stuff where they're already rare, and then they set up a kind of a trap where the animals are in a certain spot, and you can pay thousands of dollars to go to Africa or something and get your picture taken with a beautiful giraffe you shoot. Why? Those people, I wish nothing but the worst for. And you see the pictures of them posting with this beautiful like lion they shot in the middle of nowhere that's like can't even run away from them. Bro, I'm really against those people. Really against those people. So yeah, I don't like that. Steak tartare, isn't that like raw meat slices on a plate? I always thought that's what steak tartare was. You say tartare, and I stay far away from it, bro. Back to this tweet or this chat, and then the 260. The Wisconsin game neutral site. Therefore, I'm struggling on this comparison right away because that's one of the biggest dynamics of this game is the aspect of it being at A&M's home place. Also, I don't care what you think of A&M's roster. I don't care what. It's way more athletic than anything Wisconsin had in 21. That's another part. It's got to be. It's got to be a way more. I didn't respect that roster they had in 21. This has got to be a way more talented roster, I would think. Close game early, Notre Dame pulls away. I don't know. I think it's important for Notre Dame to get off to a good start, shut all those people up. Do you feel me on that? Has this guy ever had sushi? I don't think so. Yeah, I've had sushi, and I put it on my hook and throw it in the water to catch a bigger fish. Not interested, bro. No. Not my thing. I'm sure. I think I tried it before. Just say I didn't know. Like, if I'm getting sushi, I'm putting it on the hook, throwing it in to get something bigger because it's bait. Unbelievable. 260, where do you want to go?
Well, where we went and came since I've been on the line, we went from chicken wings with feathers to undercooked steak to big game trophy hunting. So,
my friend,
how's your Friday going?
My
John?
friend, this is what happens in the summer. We're in no man's land, and people are losing their football minds, and everybody has questions, and no answers to anything going on. And I feel that in my own brain, and I feel that from the fan base. We have a lot of questions and no damn answers for a while, and I think it's driving people a little batty. I think I'm losing it a little.
Well, while I was watching the show, I did some numbers. I might be wrong on this, but I've been putting together my Excel spreadsheets for the gambling season that's coming up for college football.
Oh, look at you. I like it. You got a Connor Stallions binder with 80 pages laminated with all your numbers and everything you're going to do. I like the dedication.
Not quite that far. I don't think I would show up to a Central Michigan State game to be on the sideline, but I think I would have better things to do on a Friday night.
I would hope so.
I went through some numbers on, and I know I've been a little controversial in the past when I've called in. Some people like it, some people don't, but this is just the data that I've collected when I've been doing my spreadsheet. I might be wrong on this, but I don't think Texas A&M has opened up on the road since the year 2000. And the majority of their games that they played at home, I might have messed this up going through it because I was trying to do it quick and listen to the show. They're 19-5 at home in home openers.
Interesting.
And then they've played 4 ranked opponents. They played UCLA twice, Arizona once, and they're 3-1. But their other two losses were to the upstart Arkansas State team that made a bowl that year, and I don't think they won their bowl game. But their other loss was in 2005 against Urban Meyer's Utah team, and then their only ranked opponent loss at home was against Florida in 2012, and they lost by a field goal.
Now, wait, all right, let's balance this out. I also saw a stat that came out this week on Twitter, and it was something like, for all that 12th man BS, they're like 19-20 at home in the last like 4 years or something like that. So I did see a stat. I did see some stat about, and that wouldn't be week one, but it was saying their overall home record in the last few years was just about barely 500. And I did see that.
Well, the only stat that I pulled on this, John, was the home opener games.
Okay.
That was the only stat that I pulled, and I did the same thing for Notre Dame opening up on the road week one as well. And in the opponents that Notre Dame had opening up on the road, they had Ohio State, Florida State, and I believe Texas. Or they might have had three ranked opponents.
That was going to be
road.
You're good in covering this, because one of my next questions was going to be how many of those were considered like big week one marquee games to start the year, and how many were against like Central, Southern, Texas A&M junior college to open up the year. So I'm glad you're addressing that part too, because I was going to ask.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the on the Notre Dame side of things, they opened up against top 5 ranked Ohio State. FSU was ranked in the top 15, and that was a W. And then they lost by a field goal or 1 point. It was a real close game against Texas in 16. But Notre Dame's only opened up 8 times on the road since the year 2000, and I believe they are 4-4.
Interesting.
So,
right down the middle of the road on that one.
Right down the middle of the road. And then I was looking at it, and I was putting my betting cap on, and going at the end of last year, Marcus Freeman is 9-3 against the spread. Mike Elko is 7-6 against the spread. So, and then I looked at the percentages of over under when they've hit that mark. Elko is like 63% on going over with his teams, and Marcus Freeman's like 56%. And I think the big betting line for this game is going to be the under, because it sits right now at 48.5. And I think that number is going to shift higher, because I could see it getting up to maybe getting closer to the game, maybe game time. It might get up to 51, 52.
All right. Now, wait. Now, let me ask this. Let me push. Is John a fan of blue cheese? Are you out of your absolute mind? No, I'm not eating blue cheese. Let me answer or ask this rather. There's a thought, I think, among a lot of the Notre Dame fans. They expect a really good, strong defensive performance for Notre Dame in this week one, regardless if the O-line's struggling or we get off to a slow start with whatever we're doing offensively. There is a strong thought that the defense will be really, really good. So what if they play a really, really good game? It's going to lower that whole point total thing. Like, it could just be on our side holding them down, or do people not think that and think they're going to get theirs at home?
Well, because see, when it comes to betting lines, the Las Vegas doesn't lose money, and they shift the line before the game, because right now, 48.5 it could go the other way, because typically, if you're a smart bettor, offense is always behind the defense week one, if you look at point totals. So I would say the line might shift lower, but if you get a ton of dumb money in from Texas A&M, they could push that point total higher as well, because these are two big fan bases that honestly, well, the Texas A&M people like to move the line, but in the spread right now is 1.5 on FanDuel. So it's going to be something. It's something that I'm looking at, and so that's just something I wanted to throw out there. And also, when it comes to recruiting news, I've been so entrenched in USC, watching that burn to the ground.
Oh, I have a theory on it, and I would like finish your thought, and then let me give you my theory, and then see if you agree or not. I'd love to hear it. What do you make of their situation?
Well, a little bit of it. The reason why I think they're getting decommits is because I think Lincoln Riley's a little checked out on it, and it comes right after official visit weekend, and you're going right into the dead period. If you go out to SoCal, like, it's the glitz, it's the glamour, but really when you go to the Coliseum's a dump. It's not really in a great neighborhood. Campus really isn't that great.
Yeah.
LA is not, it's not a college sports town. For all the USC people out there that want to say that, it's not even really a pro sports town, because almost every pro sports team that's been out there besides the Dodgers, which isn't even close to LA, has failed. They've left, came back, and me personally, I wouldn't want to deal with what all that comes with being out there in LA. And the other thing is that to get the best players, like if you go back to Colorado back in the early 90s, or Nebraska, they went into Southern California in the early 90s and completely recruited the crap out of that area, because they had coaches for years until Pete Carroll came along that could go into the bad neighborhoods and be okay.
Yeah.
To recruit some of these kids and to keep them at home. The Lincoln,
you know
Riley's
what you do?
Not bad.
You got to get Snoop back. Snoop was always hanging around Pete Carroll, man. Snoop's got the streets out there. So you get Snoop on your side, and then you get Will Ferrell out there to balance it out on the other side. That's how you got to recruit USC.
Yeah, to a certain extent.
I mean, I'm half kidding, but it always made me mad how much I liked Snoop and hated seeing him do all the USC stuff, because I'm a longtime old school Snoop fan, but he was so USC that it hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, Snoop's from Long Beach. He's from that area, and
he's from the LBC, baby.
Oh yeah, and it's one of those things that it comes down to. You know, Lincoln Riley does not have to. He thinks he's still at Oklahoma, and getting Southern California kids, it's not a big deal, because they have a major airport there that they can hop on a plane and take off.
Yeah.
So I've heard some things from some high school coaches out there that, he just doesn't get it. He's got practice closed.
Yeah.
I think USC is one of the very few programs that, has practice open to high school coaches. And, 7-on-7 is huge out there, and you want to close practice and you want to make everything like you think it's top secret. You're completely missing the point. And LA is just not a great livable city. So I think he's got that working
All
working
right.
totally against him.
Let me ask you this. Tell me if you think this is a part of it or not. I don't know. I'm just asking. A big part of what USC seems to sell is the LA lifestyle, all that LA could bring, the materialism, the flash, that whole superficial LA lifestyle Hollywood thing is like a part of their pitch. When you're doing that, and a lot of those guys are into that kind of thing, I don't think it should be surprising that they're so flaky and then go somewhere else that offers them a bigger bag or a brighter this or that. Like when that's your pitch and it's not any deeper than that, I feel like it shouldn't surprise you when guys are flaky and come and go and move around like that after the next big promise or whatever. Like, I just think that's what you get when that's how you operate.
And here's another thing too, John. Your first caller that's in South Bend hit the nail on the head. Look at the state tax in Mississippi compared to, or Louisiana compared to
California. Yeah.
And then I don't know if you've ever been to Tuscaloosa. Go down there, or go to Knoxville, or go to even Clemson. And then, if you get a family from Chicago and you send them to LA, they're going to be fish out of water. And I'm telling you, a mom is not going to want their kid exposed or to even be around there. The thing with USC is that they got to get the kids that are from there to stay there.
Yeah.
And then you go out and you get the one-off.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, let me ask you this, because I know you'll probably have a good answer. Is out west, top talent out west, are they still struggling to win over Oregon and Washington, like out for the teams out west? Like I got a feeling like they thought when Lincoln Riley went there, oh, every good kid on the West Coast is just going to go to USC from now on. And I don't feel like that's what's happening. Do you agree?
Well, that's why they've had, 4 decommits, and I think the Lewis kid's going to decommit, and I think he's going to go to Colorado, but that's just me. I haven't really, I'm not really tapped in out there at Colorado, and, I don't have the things going on out there. I think it's just clown show you. It's it's just not anything as a Midwest parent. For me, for a coach that does not want to do an in-home visit, I'm not flying out to Boulder from the Midwest.
Yeah.
When you need to tell me you have people like Dabo Sweeney, even though Dabo's a weirdo and he wants to fight Tyler from Spartansburg, but and then you have Mr. Family
oh
do
boy,
an in-home visit.
Yeah.
And then, you've got some guys that are total complete ass clowns that will do in-home visits, and then you have Nick Saban that will do an in-home visit, Kirby Smart, the laundry list is there, the guys that are making double-digit salaries, Ryan Day at Ohio State. It just really, really bothers me that you would send your kid there when you got to go to his throne. No, thank you, Joel.
Let me ask you this. I have serious doubts that the way Deion is doing this is sustainable in any real tangible way anyone could rely on long term. It just seems very unstable the way, I'm not sure where the foundation is of the vision of what he's trying to build long term. Is the way he's doing this all even sustainable? Because a big part of me thinks that it's just not going to be. I don't know that for sure, though.
Well, to me, everything that it comes down to with Deion, you gotta look at it for what it is. When he showed up there, everything was all glitz and glamour. They had Big Noon Kickoff there. They had
Oh, all the celebrities.
You know,
Remember everybody that was showing up on the sidelines for those games, and it was all the attention. I just figured once they started losing all these games, it would kind of die off.
and it wasn't. It died off because the winning stopped. It's kind of like the top salesman, that's selling all the cars, and then whenever the music stops, people stop showing up. But Colorado's got huge issues. I mean, you got the Shiloh Sanders, you got Jason Whitlock taking a dump on him with the Crime Time episode with the Darjean family, where Shiloh assaulted the security guard and broke his neck and gave him permanent nerve damage.
Here's what I don't like too. Here's what I don't like. I could be wrong. Here's what I really don't like. I don't like when they were trying to navigate the portal and they're like, if you're an offensive guy that maybe wants to come here, talk to my kid who's an offense player. And if you're a defensive guy, talk to the other one. And then we'll see if they think you're good enough to be able to like have access to for the program. That just rubs me the wrong way. That's just not how I see this level of football should be navigated.
Oh, I 100% agree, because the biggest thing with what Deion's doing, he's building a lateral program. He's not getting any sustainability, any continuity that, moving forward, is he going to stay there long term? I think after this year, maybe one more year, and then I think the prime experiment is over. And it's just tough. So, but outside of that, I mean, I know this is the Notre Dame show.
Are we going to get some good news? Are we going to get some good news over that little 4th of July window there? And there's multiple guys making selections. I hope we are, and it would help give us a boost into this final wing of summer.
Oh yeah, in the people that are freaking out about NOB, I'm not worried about that. I think he'll commit, and I think he's pretty much locked up. I mean, he's pretty much family.
Yeah, that's a good, literally. I don't know. And then you need a couple of these receivers. You need a couple, not even one. You need more than one.
Yeah, trying to round out the class this late on receivers. I think Meadows is a 50-50.
Yeah.
But
I like that size.
But that's just me. I haven't really dug into it. I think he's 50-50. He's a big prospect, big body, pretty much possession receiver. I think it would be a good get, but that's just me. But outside of that, the Schlossnagel.
Yeah.
I actually tweeted something out about this whenever I heard the grumblings that he was going to leave, and I tweeted something out about it, and I had about 20 DMs from Texas A&M fans saying he's not leaving, not leaving.
Yeah.
And because I got on a phone call with somebody, and they pretty much said that, I think this guy's going to leave. And I'm like, I said, you really think so? I said, everything that he said after he got to Texas A&M was like, this is the end, this is the for sure. But then again, he showed up at TCU in 04 and then left in 21, and he dipped out for UT. So
yeah, those people are legitimately down and out, completely miserable. Their next chance for happiness is against us, and I need us to not let it happen. Anything else, my friend? I appreciate you touching base on a free-for-all Friday.
Sorry, last week I went on vacation, but
Good for you.
email me back. Email me back, John, because I think we could have some better conversations.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know.
And,
I'm way backed up on everything. God, I'm so bad with email. I get so bad. I need to be better with it.
And because I put a deadline in there because
Hey,
I was going on vacation.
Don't take special offense. Everyone can be equally offended by my poor response time on emails. So I don't know if that's better or worse for me to not take it personally, like it's just you. You're not the only one. So everybody can hate me for it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask you about that, and also, John, I work nights, so whenever I get off of work, I like to have a couple of beers.
There you go. Good for you.
Even though that, I said what I said in the past, and it's got some people riled up. It's just a wait and see. I can only go with the information that I'm given. So
there you go, my friend. Well, I hope you had a relaxing time on vacation. Hopefully, maybe I'll talk to you next week, or I'll get back to my emails and get caught up with you off the air. But have a good weekend, man. Thanks for the call. You always spray the room, man. You're all over the place. I appreciate it. Give it a little bit of this, a little bit about that, and a little bit of this. I like it. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one, John.
Have a good one, buddy. How much time you got, buddy? John, what's your fax number, bro? The same one that all the Notre Dame recruits that were gonna commit to Notre Dame and back out on signing day would have sent it to. Nick, you should know I have a good answer for this. Serious question, John. If ESPN gave you a bag to do your show on their network, would you do it? You know what I would do. Say yes and get as much of the bag as I could before I do what I'm going to do, and then they're going to fire me or whatever. Like, I'm going to say yes and get the following and whatever money I can collect from them until the first time that I say what I really want to say, and then they're like, yeah, we can't do this. You're out of here. But damn, I'm trying to get the bag up front. And I need a signing bonus so that when I get fired week 1, I at least get some money out of the deal, and then they could fire me for doing what I'm going to do. Dude, that's the other thing. Man, it'll be 96 in College Station Day and 80 in Notre Dame. You have no excuse, you guys. I'm not open to any of this. You have an indoor practice facility. You can have no fans, no nothing, and steam that baby up with 100 and something sweaty men. Don't take that the wrong way. You could steam that baby up with 100 and something sweaty men, and you can have them in there just miserable, soaked to the bone. You're so hot and humidity, you can't even think. That's what it's going to take to win this game. I am 100% against the idea of this is a fall camp and we can't push the guys too hard. We need to just, ease into the year and ease into camp so that everybody can comfortably. We don't want anybody to, be a little sore and be tired, and we need to ease into camp and all that. No. Like, I'll give you a day or two to get loosened up and get into it, and then you need to go hard. This is a big moment. You are not allowed to complain about the noise, the crowd, the music, the weather. It's not an excuse this time. Why? Because you can fully prepare for it. You can fully prepare for it. Crank the heat up in that indoor facility. Dude, Notre Dame has speakers and stuff. They play music in there. Crank that bitch on volume 20. I'm serious. Have annoying music and fake crowd noise the whole time. You are not allowed to go into A&M and use the noise or the weather as an excuse. You're not allowed. I'm not allowing it. I'm not open to any of those being excuses for Notre Dame not appearing to be prepared for this moment. You can prepare for it. It's on you. And I kind of think, when was the weather ever used as an excuse? Well, what do you mean? It's already the number one thing talked about in this game. What do you mean? The whole buildup starts with it's going to be loud and it's going to be hot. That's a part of this discussion. Bob, they're absolutely 0% chance. It's 0% chance. 46 is not even in the radar. No. Yeah, I'm talking about it because it's a big part of this game. And it can't be an excuse. It can't be an excuse. Here's something that I saw yesterday. My old golf coach at this community event I'm working at all week. You know, you run into people you don't see, whatever. And I see my old golf coach, Notre Dame grad, by the way, Notre Dame grad, Notre Dame family. He was a dentist, graduated from Notre Dame. 76, I think he graduated. Notre Dame guy. And I was talking to him, and he says, I got a granddaughter who got into Notre Dame and turned it down and got into Texas A&M and accepted it. So she's going to Texas A&M. And he showed me a video the girl took of the freshman orientation. And he goes, John, look at how weird this is. This is her orientation. She turned down Notre Dame to go to A&M. I don't know why. And he showed me the video on the phone. They put all the freshmen in like a little auditorium thing. They have a slideshow. And they have one of those white wearing overall weirdos up there teaching the freshmen how to do the jazz hands. And he's marching around on one foot and he's doing this and that. Go A&M. He's prancing around. He's wearing his overalls and it's going, go Giggies, whatever, Aggies, whatever. And then it had like a little chart showing you how to do the little moves. It is terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. And these people are not normal. They're not even close to, they're bizarre. They're scary. They're weird. Again, it's the eyes. It's the eyes. You know how the boat went down in the war and the sharks were eating the guys, and he was talking about the eyes. You could tell a lot by looking in somebody's eyes. When I look at all those A&M weird, I see total disconnect from the real world, bizarre weirdo, not connected to reality, cult members that are in their own little galaxy and have no concept that they're even weird. No concept that they're even weird. They think it's normal. Because cult members like reaffirm the other cult members. And when you're all a cult member, nobody's there to say you're a weird cult member because they're all weird cult members. I don't like it. I don't like them. I am scared. I don't trust them. I'm not joking or trolling when I say keep your kids within arm's reach. I'm terrified of these people on a human, not a football level, on a human level. They're not normal. They're not okay. They're not okay. Chief Brody, this is your moment. Chief Brody, this is literally your exact moment. I didn't even think of it. But this is the moment. Chief's been on this show for like 5 years waiting for this moment. Somebody just had to tee him up. By the way, you want to know what I'm mad about now that we're on this topic to end the show? Here's something else I don't appreciate. We went to Disney last year. You know, you got a little girl. Oh, I want to see Ariel. Ooh, whatever. You know, all these princess, whatever. So you go to Disney, and my brother's in Florida, so it all whatever. We go to Disney. How are you going to turn off the Jaws ride? I don't understand. Can I just have like one thing that just stays classic? And you got to close the Jaws thing. It's no longer the ride shut down or whatever. What? Nobody likes Jaws anymore? It's unbelievable. So what do we got another ride? Like what? All the Disney movies they've been ruining by modernizing them and ruining all the characters and changing the plot for the new narrative they want to push, ruining all this stuff. I don't understand. How are you going to close the Jaws ride? It's a classic. Next thing you know, they're going to close the Pirates of the Caribbean and the haunted, the haunted mansion for all this weird stuff. Splash Mountain's closed too. I don't understand. Everything's got, now it's all these weird princess movies. Ooh, how many weird princess movies do you need? Really? You've seen one, you've seen them all. They're all the same to me. Snow White, Cinderella, Ariel, Fiona, Tiara, they're all the same to me. Universal Studios, isn't it a part of Disney or no? Is that something different? Either way, I'm mad at them both. The princess thing's out of control at Disney. You got to, come on, everything can't be a princess. Anyways. Princess Fiona. You got a Fiona for Fiona, I think, Mark. You got a problem today. My word. You're on a different level today, buddy. All right. Bizarre show. Weird show. LOL, no. Well, whatever it is, how are you going to get rid of Jaws? It makes me upset. Or maybe that's, I don't know. Too many princesses. Mark loves himself some Cameron Diaz. Yeah, which era? Don't tell my wife. God bless your wife, Mark. She's got to be a saint. And I like it when you're on the phone with her, and then I just grab it and start talking like I'm involved in the conversation, which we did at Blue and Gold. All right, I'm out of here. This was a weird show, weird morning. I admit I'm a little out of sorts because I've been getting home at like midnight from this community festival thing I'm working on. It's like from 4 until midnight every night the rest of this week. And it's Saturday, midnight, bands playing all night. I'm not going to get home till like 1 a.m. So it ain't going to happen this week. After this, everything opens back up. But I'm definitely going to, it's going to be a late weekend, late night, everything. And so, yeah, there won't be a show. I'll be keeping my eye out, making sure everybody's on their best behavior at this this friendly festival event here. Deer sausage, I like that. I'll eat that jerky. I've eaten deer meat. I don't mind it. I just don't want to be the one to kill a cool-looking buck. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to eat some good deer jerky. I just don't want to be the one that has to shoot that cool-looking deer in the woods. I want him to be able to keep being cool in the woods. I don't know. Tweet some fireworks. Yeah, tonight's the fireworks show. You know how it goes. A community event, and they have the festival rides for the kids, all the food vendors and trucks. Then they have a music and a beer stage thing. And tonight's fireworks night. So it's going to be off, all the town's got to come to watch the fireworks. So that's going to be the big thing. I don't know. I need to get back on the Saturday night routine. So now when I'm done with this week, my last kind of big obligations, maybe we could get back into it and make it more regular to build it up. All right. Weird show. I know I'm a little out of sorts. My sleeping's off, everything. It's just a weird, busy week for Johnny Boy. Have a good one, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for donating. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for calling.